Hello, my name is Brother Sean, and as you can see from the fancy outfit I'm wearing, I'm a lay monastic enclosed Franciscan monk who embraces all faiths and none, a member of the Teo community of interspiritual Franciscans. We are currently an online lay monastic community until such time as we can locate the field of dreams, where a group of us, both men and women, can come together and live a simple life, following in the footsteps of the great Francis of Assisi, an eco-spiritual warrior, and one who embraced all faiths. So, what has this 12th century mystic, holy man, got to say to my heart and yours about we are called to forgiveness? Forgiveness is like opening a Pandora's box, because we live in such a beautiful world that's become so technological, making communication much easier than in the time of Francis, because he didn't have an iPhone, the internet, a mobile phone. So how did he communicate to his brothers and sisters? Through love, through prayer, through silence. Because as he sat in the divine oneness, he could bring his brothers and sisters, as I do, into his heart, giving thanks to the Supreme, a loving Father, Mother, God, and inviting the company of heaven to watch over his friends and his followers. But coming to forgiveness, from a personal point of view, forgiveness has not always been one of my greatest strengths. And I think that's rooted very much in my childhood. Yes, I look back now and I can see some of the causes of my unforgiveness. And I guess it was due to the fact that I was brought up in a traditional Irish Catholic family. And forgiveness never came easy. Never. But as I matured in the spiritual life, and still maturing, I'm not there yet, but I strive for it. And I find to forgive another not always easy, especially when I know they're in the wrong, when I know that they've been deceitful, unkind, where they've abused the gift of charity. But I have always to keep at the forefront of my prayer life, of my own ministry, especially to my heart, that I bear no grudges against another. And I remember over a year ago, I was put to such a test when I discovered through one of our community on holiday in Ireland that my young brother, whom I had to have investigated for cruelty to my late mum, and all of that imploded on my face. I discovered through one of our community that when she tried to find my email online by typing in my name, she discovered that a lot of nasty things were said about me, how I was sacked from nursing, for sleeping with patients, sacked from the monastery for sleeping with monks, and it was so evil. And then I realized that that was his way of coping with his truth, to retaliate because his pride was injured. And this is a young man whom I love still. I love him, but I don't necessarily like him. And I found it really hard to understand. Why did he do what he did? And how could he do that to his elder brother, who loved him, who reared him, when our mom was very ill, when he was born 47 years ago? I was so filled with pain and anger at the depth that he had gone to. I wasn't particularly bothered about what he'd said about me, because I knew in my heart that it wasn't true. But whether it was or it wasn't is irrelevant. It was the fact that this was someone I love that could be so unkind, so unchristian. And I struggled, I struggled for quite some time in my prayer, asking Jesus, asking God, why? And I could feel a part of me wanting to seek revenge, wanting to retaliate. And I struggled, really struggled. But eventually, the inner voice in my heart was almost suffocated by the many voices of ego wanting to destroy my younger brother for what he'd said. But then that inner voice in my heart won, and it said, forgive, forget, bless, move on. So for me, forgiveness is not about just forgiving. It's about obliterating the memory from one's mind and one's heart, and blessing it, and blessing what happened. For me, that is forgiveness. And that brings a release from our heart, where we can stand in the presence of God and say, not only do I forgive, but I forget, I bless, and I hand over to you this travesty, this tragedy, and I ask God for help, so that I no longer bear a grudge, become vindictive and spiteful, and retaliate, that I don't throw negativity at negativity, that I bless it. And you know, that's not easy. And I'm not saying to you it is easy to forgive. It's not. It can be very painful to give in, because the ego takes over, and the ego wants to redress that by reciprocating with words of anger and unforgiveness. But as we are in service to a loving God, we are peacemakers, ambassadors of peace for God. So to get embroiled in this tit-for-tat scenario is counterproductive. And yes, the ego will smart, especially if one calls you unkind names, if one accuses you unfairly. The ego retaliates. Your pride is wounded, and there is no place in the spiritual life or in a relationship with the Supreme if one seeks to destroy another in retaliation. We have a duty of care to ourselves and to the perpetrator. And when we give love, we are breaking that karmic chain of negativity. And what we're doing, we're actually saying, I forgive you. I forgive you. The I Am presence within me forgives you, because the I Am presence is in you too. And as you are my brother in Christ, as you are a child of God, I have a duty to embrace the divine in you through love, not fear, not hate. And as the great Dampada said, hate is not overcome by hate. Hate is overcome by love. If you are in a place where you've been wounded and your good name, reputation has been sullied, bring it to God in prayer. Ask for strength. Call on the company of heaven. They will help you. Trust me. Namaste.